Hello everyone, this is Beastly Eel here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the latest episode of The Mandalorian. In this episode, we're going to be talking about everything that's happened and where we think the season finale is going to go. So, there are a lot of spoilers ahead, so please, pause the video, watch the actual episode, and then come back, because there will be a lot of spoilers ahead. Bo-Katan brings the rest of the Mandalorians back to um, the zealots, I guess is the best way to put it. And she is terrified that there's going to be a fight ensued because, well, they don't like each other. The both factions have always hated each other, even though they really don't know each other. But the little stuff that they do know, Bo-Katan says it's what they hate the most about each other. So that being said, they fly down, and there's a bit of a confrontation at the beginning between Bo-Katan's second in command and the big guy from that has the huge blaster machine gun. And it looks like there's a fight that's about to ensue, especially after they take all their helmets off. And that's when the armorer comes out and starts banging on her weapons. And she basically states that, you know, we need to start working as a team, and we will have a feast and everything else. And they decide to have it. What happens is they have a feast, they eat, they're happy, blah 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 blah. And Bo-Katan basically states that they're going to need to take back Mandalore. And the fact that what they need to do is they need to have a team go down and scout the area to make sure that it's cleared. What they will do is they have a scouting party go in and make sure that things are okay, before they bring down the what's it called? Oh my gosh, bring down the rest of the Mandalorians. So they go do that, and she asks for volunteers, and it's Din Djarin, Bo-Katan, the Armorer, Sasha Banks, um, the former leader of the squad, the Machine Gunnist, and a few others from both sides. And they decide to go there. And while this is going on, before they leave, our little friend Grogu gets a little machine, um, and he gets a robot. So the robot that tried to kill him and then protect him in season one has now been turned into a walking exoskeleton for him, and it gets him to communicate with yes and no, which I find to be hilarious. But anyway, back to the plot. We have the former Moff Gideon lieutenant, or whatever her title was, sneaking around in the city, where she finds an Imperial drone. And in that Imperial drone, it is actually Moff Gideon talking with her, asking her questions about what is going on. And she explains that there's a huge issue where the Mandalorians have taken over again. And he's like, there's no way the Mandalorians have teamed up. They hate each other. And she explains to him, like, no, they have. So he tells her to stay on plan while he goes and deals with the Mandalorians. What we find out is the First Order does exist already. Whether they're called that yet or not, they have the large lieutenants, I guess is the best way to put it. The head lieutenants, the head generals, um, discussing what needs to be done for the Empire and how they are separated on purpose to make it so the rebellion, and not the rebellion, the Republic doesn't realize that they are an actual force that is teamed up together. And they're arguing about resources and all that stuff, blah, 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 blah. And Grand Admiral Thrawn is talked about a lot in this. And Moff Gideon's like, well, where is he? Let's get him going. You know, if he's supposedly the next in charge, let's get him over here. And if not, well, let's move on. We need leadership now. And so Moff Gideon is asking for supplies, and at first nobody's for it. They're like, nope, not gonna happen. This ain't gonna happen. You don't deserve supplies. And then Moff Gideon's like, the Mandalorians are alive, and they plan to take on Mandalore again. And that's when everyone changed their tune, and they're like, you're like positive on this, like you're 100%. And he's like, no, no, 100%, they're coming. And they're all like, okay, we're gonna give you all the supplies you need. And he asked for a whole bunch of weaponry and everything else, and three guards. royal guards to be specific, and that's how they're explained. So that is the end of that conversation. On Mandalore, the scouting party goes down, lands. They start scouting, which is hilarious to me because of obviously they were scouting. They find the remaining of the Nighthawks. Bo-Katan, explains what happens and how she knows that they were going to lose, so therefore she gave up the dark saber to Moff Gideon and surrendered Mandalore so he would spare the rest of the Mandalorians. He backstabbed her, obviously, and blew up the entire planet for the most part. I mean, obviously it was still in, it's alive. It's not destroyed completely, but the outside is ruins. And she's really down on herself and everything else. And what happens is, they start going away. They start getting all the sick back onto the ship, and the rest of them are going to go to the forge where they will start their civilization again. And what looks like to be the Megalosaur comes out and smashes the ship. They get out, fly away, and then this is when they start to get ambushed. After being in a cave, they get into a cave to avoid what was going on outside. And then what happens is they get into this cave, and that's when Imperial troopers are there, and it's stormtroopers in Veskar. So they are now attacking each other, and now these troopers are retreating, and they start to chase after them. What happens next is apparently it was a trap, and they trap them inside, and what we see is Din Djarin get captured and pulled away, and who shows up but none other than Moff Gideon. Moff Gideon, being in full Mandalorian Imperial armor, is ready to take down everyone. And he looks completely badass in this. I mean, it is black. It has it almost has like Darth Maul vibes on the helmet. A little bit of horns, a little bit, a little bit of greatness. And he gets pulled away, and he basically gives Bo-Katan a chance on surrendering again, and maybe he'll let them live or die. And that's when she decides to go at it. She uses the dark saber to cut a hole in the entryway to let everyone escape. And that's when the big guy with the machine gun makes the ultimate sacrifice. He locks the door behind him and he takes on the entire Imperial army. And he takes a lot of them out, let me tell you. I mean, he takes out all those Veskar stormtroopers with ease. But what happens next is the guards come out. And now these are the red guys from the First Order that we see in the sequel trilogy. And they go to town on this guy. I mean, they kill him rather quickly. I mean, we see him just beating up stormtroopers with Veskar like they are nothing, like they are made of paper. He's just smashing them to the ground, screaming, just beating them down. And then these three red armored Imperial jerks come in and eliminate him in less than a minute and take him out with ease after he has taken out most of their military single handedly, by the way. Proof that these guys are not to be messed with. So, what's going to happen? Well, we. There's going to be a lot that happens, let's be honest. Din Djarin was taken mostly due to the fact that he wants the child, let's be honest. That's all he really wants. And then we are going to see a huge full-on fight between the Mandalorians and Moff Gideon in this next episode. I mean, there's only one episode left. I mean, this is going to be a huge fight scene. It better be. We better call every gosh darn mother, brother, everything. Just call everyone. We need Luke Skywalker, Ahsoka Tano, like everybody. You call them, they should come. Boba Fett. You know, every single one needs to be there because this is going to be one of the most epic fights of all time. Um, I thought this episode was incredible. We get to see the rise of the First Order. We get to see why there was such a big talk about Mandalore, and it was just a lot of death. Granted, a lot of death on the other side, not so much on the Mandalorian side, but there were some heavy, heavy casualties. So we will have to wait and see what happens in the season finale of The Mandalorian next week. But I am super excited about it and cannot wait to see what happens. So, let me know what you guys thought about this episode in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you not like it? And why? As always, if you like the content you see, please like and subscribe below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a good night.